The box of roses sits on the passenger seat, their scent overpowering the interior of my car as I navigate the evening traffic. Anna's been distant, but tonight, I'm determined to close the gap. I crafted the note myself, simple, heartfelt, the kind of sentiment I thought she'd cherish. She's been my wife for 16 years, and though the cracks in our marriage have deepened lately, I'm ready to patch them. I pull into the driveway and exhale. Tonight has to go perfectly. The kids are away at camp, giving us the first uninterrupted evening in months. I'm greeted at the door by Anna's radiant smile. She holds the roses like they're the most precious gift in the world. "You didn't have to," she says, but her voice carries a lightness I haven't heard in years. As the night progresses, it feels like old times. Dinner is her favorite, catered from the little Italian place down the street, and she laughs at my jokes like she used to. Wine flows freely, and when I lead her upstairs, she follows with a glint in her eye that sends a flicker of hope through me. For a moment, I forget the suspicion that's been gnawing at me. We make love like we're rediscovering each other, her touch igniting a fire I thought had died out. I fall asleep content, believing I've finally broken through the wall between us. The next morning, I wake to an empty bed. Anna's already gone for work. I find her note on the counter, a casual mention that she's leaving early for a meeting. I tell myself it's nothing unusual, but as I sip my coffee, a nagging doubt creeps in. Last night felt too calculated, almost like a performance. I shake it off and head to work, but the uneasy feeling lingers. By lunch, my suspicions are boiling over. I grab my phone and open the shared cloud account. It's a habit I started weeks ago, ever since she began leaving the room to answer her calls. The synced messages show nothing out of the ordinary, yet, but my gut tells me there's more to uncover. The final straw comes when I find them. Her black panties, the ones she wore during our last night together before the kids left. They're stuffed at the back of the laundry hamper, crusted with evidence that screams betrayal. My chest tightens, and I grip the fabric like it's a lifeline. She didn't even bother to hide the proof. I pace the house, anger simmering under my skin. Last night wasn't a reconnection. It was a cover. She's been playing me, and I've been too blind to see it. I grab my keys and head to the garage, my mind racing with plans. If Anna thinks she can outsmart me, she's in for a rude awakening. As the garage door closes behind me, the hum of the engine fades into the silence of my own thoughts. I'm not the kind of man who acts on impulse, but this calls for precision. The panties in the hamper weren't just a careless oversight. They were a declaration, a challenge, and I'm ready to meet it head-on. Back in my office, I pull up the software I installed on her phone weeks ago. It tracks location, texts, and even logs calls. At the time, I convinced myself it was just to ease my paranoia, but now I see it as the insurance policy I never wanted to need. The screen lights up with data. She's not at work. She's on the other side of town, at a hotel. My stomach drops, but my resolve hardens. There's no room for doubt anymore. If she thinks she's going to keep me in the dark, she's about to learn how wrong she is. I grab my laptop and delve deeper, scrolling through messages I'd ignored in the past. A name pops up repeatedly, Tom. Short texts, innocuous on the surface, but layered with subtext. Can't wait to see you. Same time next week? My hands tighten into fists. I slam the laptop shut and head to the bedroom. Anna's carefully arranged perfume bottles catch the morning sunlight, glinting like the facade she's worked so hard to maintain. Her dresser is pristine, but I know her routine. Hidden at the back of her drawer, I find the envelope I'd almost forgotten about. It's filled with receipts, tickets, little scraps she's kept for reasons only she understands. Among them, I find confirmation. A restaurant receipt signed for two, the date aligning with one of her supposed work meetings. It's almost laughable how obvious it is now. The dots connect themselves, each one adding weight to the betrayal I feel in my chest. But I can't blow up yet, not without more. I want to be methodical, to corner her with the kind of evidence she can't talk her way out of. I pick up my phone and call an old friend, Eddie. He's a private investigator who owes me a favor. He answers on the third ring, his voice gruff but familiar. "Mark? What's up?" "I need your help," I say, keeping my tone steady. It's personal. There's a pause on the line, the kind that tells me Eddie knows exactly what kind of favor this is. Say no more. Send me what you have, and I'll get to work. I hang up and forward him the data. For the first time that day, a strange calm washes over me. The wheels are in motion now, and all I have to do is wait. The rest of the day drags. I work on autopilot, answering calls and typing emails, but my mind is elsewhere. When Anna comes home that evening, I'm at the kitchen counter, slicing vegetables for dinner. She kisses me on the cheek and offers a warm smile, the picture of domestic bliss. I suppress the urge to confront her then and there. "Busy day?" she asks, pulling a glass from the cabinet. "Yeah," I reply, matching her tone. "You?" "Exhausting," she sighs. "Meetings all day." I glance at her, wondering how she can lie so easily. But instead of challenging her, I smile and pour her a glass of wine. "You deserve to relax," I say, watching as she sips it, completely unaware of the storm brewing around her. Eddie's text pings on my phone late that night, long after Anna's asleep. The message is brief but damning. "Got it all. You're going to want to see this." I sit in my car, the engine idling in the darkness outside Eddie's office. The city hums quietly around me, but my focus is razor sharp. Eddie steps out of the building, a file in hand, his expression a mix of pity and resolve. He slides into the passenger seat, dropping the file onto my lap. "You were right," he says, his voice low. "It's worse than you thought." I don't respond immediately. I flip open the file and begin sorting through the photos, timestamps, and notes Eddie has compiled. The images sting like open wounds. Anna and Tom entering a hotel, their laughter frozen in time as they sit close together at a cafe, their hands brushing under the table. The timestamps align perfectly with the excuses she's given me. It's all there in black and white. Eddie clears his throat. They've been meeting 3 times a week, mostly at that hotel on the edge of town. Sometimes a restaurant. Once at your house when you were out. The mention of my house sends a fresh wave of anger coursing through me. "At my house?" I say, my voice tight. Eddie nods grimly. "She's bold. I'll give her that." I toss the file onto the dashboard, my knuckles whitening as I grip the steering wheel. "I want to end this," I mutter, more to myself than to Eddie. "You will," Eddie assures me. "Just be smart about it. You've got all the evidence you need." I glance at him, my jaw set. This isn't just about proving she's cheating. I want her to feel it, Eddie. I want her to know exactly what she's thrown away. Eddie doesn't argue. He knows better. Instead, he pats the file. "This will hit her harder than any confrontation ever could. Use it wisely." By the time I get home, the anger has simmered into a cold determination. I stow the file in the safe behind my office bookshelf. Anna's already asleep when I climb into bed, her breathing steady and peaceful, as if she hasn't been dismantling our life piece by piece. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing with plans. The next day, I put everything in motion. The first call is to my lawyer, Susan, who listens without judgment as I explain the situation. She assures me that the evidence will give me a strong advantage in divorce proceedings. "We can push for favorable custody terms," she says, "but we need to move quickly." The second call is to the bank. I transfer half of the funds from our joint account into a personal account, ensuring I'll have control when the dust settles. The third call is to a locksmith, who agrees to change the locks on short notice. By the afternoon, I feel like a general preparing for war. Every step is calculated, every move designed to minimize collateral damage. The kids are still away at camp, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing at home. I want to keep it that way for as long as possible. That evening, Anna's cheerful demeanor grates on me more than ever. She chats about her day, oblivious to the fact that every word she speaks only reinforces my resolve. I nod and smile, playing the part of the oblivious husband while inside. I'm sharpening my knives. When she falls asleep, I slip out of bed and retrieve the file from the safe. Spreading the contents across my desk, I study every detail, committing it all to memory. The evidence isn't just ammunition. It's a map, and it's guiding me to the final confrontation. As I pack the file away, a text from Eddie pings on my phone. "Tom's car is in the shop tomorrow. Might be a good time to pay him a visit. I smirk. Tomorrow, the game changes. The morning sun filters through the blinds, but it does nothing to brighten my mood. Today isn't just another day. It's the beginning of Anna's reckoning. I dress quickly, jeans, and a plain t-shirt. Nothing that will draw attention. The calm before the storm demands precision, and I'm prepared to deliver. Eddie's intel is solid. Tom's car is parked at a garage across town, a bright red Mustang that screams midlife crisis. I park down the block, watching the shop's activity through my rearview mirror. There's no sign of Tom, but the car is there, waiting for its owner. The minutes tick by, each one sharpening my focus. Finally, I see him. Tom steps out of the shop office, chatting casually with the mechanic. He's younger than I expected, mid-20s, lean, with an air of cocky confidence. My grip tightens on the steering wheel. This is the man Anna risked everything for? Tom lingers, inspecting the car, oblivious to the storm brewing just down the street. I bide my time, waiting for the perfect moment. When he finally walks away, heading to the coffee shop across the street, I make my move. Sliding out of my car, I approach the Mustang with deliberate steps. The garage is busy enough that no one pays me any mind, but not so busy that I can afford to waste time. From my pocket, I pull out a small floor jack and a set of tools, Eddie's suggestion. Quick and quiet, I slide the jack under the car, lifting it just enough to access the oil pan. The bolt is easy to loosen, and within moments, I've drained enough oil to guarantee the engine won't last long. The mechanic will likely miss it, just a subtle sabotage, nothing overt. Before lowering the car, I place a handful of roofing nails in the tread of the rear tires. They blend perfectly, and when Tom drives off, he'll be leaving a trail of bad luck behind him. I retreat to my car, adrenaline coursing through me. As I pull away, I catch a glimpse of Tom returning to the shop, completely unaware. Satisfaction bubbles up, but I force it down. This isn't over, not by a long shot. By the time I get home, Anna's car is gone. Her schedule is predictable, another work meeting that's anything but. I head inside and pull out the file Eddie compiled. It's time to hit her where it hurts. My first call is to Anna's boss. Keeping my tone calm, I explain that I've discovered evidence of her inappropriate behavior with a coworker. The pause on the other end is telling. "We'll handle this internally," the voice says, strained. "You'd better," I reply, hanging up before they can push back. Anna prides herself on her professional reputation, but it won't withstand this. She built her affair on lies, and I'm making sure those lies collapse under their own weight. The second call is to my lawyer. Susan's efficiency is a balm to my frayed nerves. The evidence is strong, she assures me. We'll have the papers ready by tomorrow. That evening, Anna walks through the door, her face flushed from what she probably thinks is a successful day. She kisses me on the cheek, her eyes lighting up when she sees the dinner I've prepared. I force myself to smile, to play the part of the doting husband one last time. "How was work?" I ask, watching her closely. "Busy," she says, pouring herself a glass of wine. "Meetings all afternoon." I nod, biting back the venom that wants to spill out. Tomorrow, the truth will come crashing down on her, and I'll be there to watch every piece fall into place. The game has begun, and I have all the cards. The morning air feels heavy as I sip my coffee, the calm anticipation before a storm. Today isn't just another day, it's Judgment Day. I've waited for this moment, orchestrated every detail to perfection, and now, the pieces are falling into place. Anna's already left the house, humming some cheerful tune as she grabbed her bag and kissed me goodbye. "Big presentation today," she said with a wink. I forced a smile, my mind already miles ahead. The only presentation she'll be facing is the cold reality of her actions. I head to my office and pick up the envelope containing the divorce papers Susan prepared. They're straightforward but ruthless. Anna will lose custody of the kids and most of her claim to our assets unless she can prove otherwise. The clause about no contact with romantic partners in the presence of our children is particularly satisfying. I imagine the moment she reads it, the dawning realization of what she's about to lose. The plan for the day is simple. First, I'll deliver the papers to Anna at her workplace. The timing has to be impeccable, just after lunch, when her guard is down, and the office is full of her colleagues. Then, I'll wait. Her reaction will tell me everything I need to know. By noon, I'm parked a block away from her office building. I watch as the lunch crowd bustles in and out, their chatter blending into the background. The envelope sits on the passenger seat, a silent witness to what's about to unfold. My phone buzzes. It's Eddie. She's with him, he says. They just left the cafe and are heading to the hotel. Perfect. Anna won't be expecting this. I hang up and step out of the car, the envelope clutched tightly in my hand. The receptionist at her office greets me with a smile, clearly recognizing me from Anna's holiday parties. I return the smile, keeping my tone polite. I need to drop this off for Anna, I say, handing over the envelope. Sure thing, she replies, not bothering to look inside. She sets it on the desk with a stack of mail. I'll make sure she gets it. Thanks, I say, turning to leave. The adrenaline surges as I step outside, a mixture of anger and satisfaction fueling every step back to my car. The trap is set. Now I just have to wait for her to spring it. The rest of the afternoon is a blur of activity. I call the school to confirm the kids' camp schedule and ensure everything is in place for their transition. I book a locksmith to change the house locks tomorrow morning, ensuring Anna won't have access once she's out. By the time evening rolls around, my phone buzzes again. It's Eddie, his tone carrying the weight of what he's about to say. She got the papers, he reports. She called Tom. They're panicking. Good. Let them panic. When Anna walks through the door later that night, her expression is a mix of shock and defiance. She doesn't say anything at first, just drops her bag on the counter and stares at me. So, she finally says, her voice trembling, "This is how you want to handle it?" I lean back in my chair, keeping my tone calm. Handle what, Anna? The lies? The affair? The disrespect? Tell me, how would you handle it? Her cheeks flush, and for a moment, she looks like she's about to argue. But then her shoulders sag, and she lets out a shaky breath. We can fix this, she says softly. We just need to talk. I let the silence hang between us, heavy and suffocating. Finally, I stand, meeting her gaze with a steeliness she's never seen before. This isn't something we can talk our way out of, Anna. This is done. Her eyes widen, the reality of my words sinking in. But before she can respond, I walk past her, heading upstairs. The trap has been sprung, and there's no going back now. The sound of the front door closing echoes through the house, but I don't turn back. I hear Anna's footsteps falter, her breathing uneven as she processes what's happening. It's the first time I've seen her truly shaken, and part of me revels in it. But there's no room for sympathy, not now. Upstairs, I settle into my office chair, glancing at the phone. I know she'll call someone, probably Tom, desperate to figure out what to do next. She won't find any answers. The locks are changing in the morning, and her access to the kids is hanging by a thread. This is her mess to clean up. I scroll through my emails, trying to focus on anything but the heavy silence downstairs. Minutes pass. Then, like clockwork, my phone buzzes with a text from Eddie. She's calling him. She's pissed. Do you want the audio? I smirk and reply, absolutely. Moments later, Eddie's recording comes through. I press play, and her voice fills the room, sharp and frantic. You need to fix this, Tom. He knows everything. He's got papers, divorce papers. There's a pause, and then her tone drops, venom lacing every word. Don't act like this doesn't involve you. If he finds out where the money came from, we're both screwed. The words hit me like a hammer. Money? What money? My mind races, piecing together fragments of conversations and bank statements I dismissed as harmless. Suddenly, her late nights and work meetings take on a new dimension. She's been funneling something. Funds, resources, favors, and Tom's in on it. I forward the audio to Susan, adding a brief note. Check all joint accounts for discrepancies. If Anna thought betrayal would be the extent of her downfall, she underestimated me. Whatever she's hiding, I'll find it. The rest of the evening passes in tense silence. When I finally head back downstairs, Anna is sitting on the couch, her face pale and tear-streaked. She looks up at me, her lips parting as if to speak, but I hold up a hand. Don't, I say firmly. Anything you say now will only make things worse. Her eyes brim with tears, but she nods, defeated. I head to the kitchen, pouring myself a glass of water. The calm in my demeanor feels foreign, even to me, but it's a necessary mask. She doesn't deserve to see the storm beneath. As I lean against the counter, the doorbell rings. I glance at the clock. It's nearly 9 p.m. My heart skips a beat, and I glance at Anna, who looks just as surprised. I set the glass down and stride to the door, opening it to find a uniformed officer standing there. "Mr. Thompson?" he asks, his tone professional. "Yes," I reply, my mind racing. "We received a call about a potential domestic disturbance," the officer explains, glancing over my shoulder. "May we come in?" I step aside, my eyes narrowing as I catch Anna's slight flinch. She called them. She's playing the victim. "Of course," I say calmly, gesturing for them to enter. "Though I think there's been a misunderstanding." The officer nods, his partner scanning the room. "Your wife made the call. She seemed upset." Anna rises from the couch, her hands trembling. "It's not what it looks like," she stammers, tears spilling over. I thought he might what?" I cut in, my voice sharper than I intend. "Hurt you? Take a look around, officers. Does this look like a man who's out of control?" The lead officer exchanges a glance with his partner, then looks back at Anna. "Ma'am, do you feel threatened right now?" Anna hesitates, her gaze darting between me and the officers. Finally, she shakes her head. "No," she says softly. I panicked. The officers nod, their posture relaxing. "We'll file this as a misunderstanding," the lead officer says. "But let's try to keep things civil, okay?" "Absolutely," I reply, my tone icy as I glance at Anna. "We're done here." The officers leave, and the door clicks shut behind them. Anna slumps back onto the couch, her tears flowing freely now. I lean against the wall, arms crossed. "That was a nice move," I say, my voice low. "But it's not going to save you." Anna sits motionless on the couch, her shoulders hunched, eyes locked on the floor. I remain standing, leaning against the wall, my arms crossed. The silence between us is sharp, cutting through the tension like a blade. She opens her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. "Don't waste my time with excuses," I say, my voice calm but laced with steel. "I already know more than you think, and I'm going to know everything soon." Her head snaps up, eyes wide with fear. "Mark, I don't know what you're talking about," she stammers. But the tremor in her voice betrays her. I push off the wall and step closer, towering over her. "Don't insult my intelligence, Anna. Who's Tom? And what's this about money?" Her face pales, and for a moment, she looks like she might faint. But then her expression hardens, a flicker of defiance in her eyes. "You don't understand," she says, her voice steadier now. "It's not what you think." I let out a bitter laugh. "It's never what I think, is it? You know, for someone who claims to love me, you've done a remarkable job of tearing this family apart." She stands abruptly, her fists clenched at her sides. "You don't get it," she snaps, the anger in her voice surprising us both. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen." "Oh, so it just happened," I reply, sarcasm dripping from every word. "You accidentally lied to my face for months? Accidentally funneled money out of our accounts? Do you even hear yourself?" Her resolve falters, and she sinks back onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. "I didn't know what else to do," she whispers, her voice muffled. He made promises." I freeze, her words hitting me like a truck. "Promises?" I ask, my voice low. "What kind of promises, Anna?" She hesitates, and I can see the internal war raging within her. Finally, she looks up, her face streaked with tears. "He said he could help us, that we'd be better off. He said he cared about me." I feel a surge of disgust, not just at her, but at myself for ever trusting her. "And you believed him," I say, shaking my head. "You believed some two-bit liar over your own husband?" Her silence is all the confirmation I need. My jaw tightens as I step away, trying to control the anger bubbling beneath the surface. You know what, Anna? I don't even care about his promises. What I care about is how you sold us out for nothing. She flinches at the word sold, but I don't back down. I grab my phone and call Eddie, pacing the room as it rings. He answers on the first ring. What's the update? I ask, my tone curt. Found something interesting, Eddie replies. There's a second account in her name. Small deposits over time, but it adds up. Looks like Tom's been funneling money through it. My grip tightens on the phone. How much? About 10 grand so far. Maybe more. I glance at Anna, who's now watching me with a mixture of dread and resignation. Send me the details, I say before hanging up. Turning to her, I raise an eyebrow. Care to explain the secret account? Her lips tremble, but she doesn't speak. I throw my hands in the air, laughing bitterly. Unbelievable. You've got nothing, do you? Tears stream down her face, but I don't let it sway me. I trusted you, Anna. I gave you everything. And you threw it all away for this pathetic excuse of a man who doesn't even have the decency to keep his hands clean. She shakes her head, whispering, I'm sorry. Sorry? I echo, my voice rising. You think that fixes this? No, Anna. Sorry doesn't even come close. I grab my jacket and head for the door, pausing only to look back at her one last time. Pack your things. You won't be staying here much longer. As I step into the cool night air, my phone buzzes again. It's Eddie, with more details about the account. I open the message, my jaw tightening as I read. The betrayal runs deeper than I imagined, and I know now there's no turning back. The chill of the night air seeps into my jacket as I sit in my car, staring at the details Eddie sent me. The transactions from the secret account are laid bare. Restaurant bills, hotel stays, even a couple of high-end gifts. Each line feels like another knife in my back. But it's the final transaction that ignites a fire inside me. A deposit labeled Joint Future Fund. It's dated just last week, and the amount is significant, $5,000. She's not just betraying me. She's planning a future with him. My grip tightens on the steering wheel. If she thinks she can build a new life on the ashes of ours, she's in for a rude awakening. I start the car and drive aimlessly for a while, letting the city lights blur past as I piece together my next steps. The anger coursing through me feels different now. Colder, more controlled. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about reclaiming what she's stolen. My trust, my dignity, and most importantly, my family. When I return home, the house is dark. Anna's still awake, though. I can hear her soft sobs coming from the living room. I ignore them, heading straight to my office. The stack of evidence sits on the desk, a silent reminder of everything I've uncovered. I flip through it again, committing every detail to memory. The next morning, I wake early and make the calls. The locksmith is the first to arrive, changing every lock in the house before Anna even stirs. The second call is to Susan, finalizing the arrangements for custody and financial restrictions. By the time Anna walks groggily into the kitchen, coffee in hand, I'm ready. Good morning, I say, my tone sharp. You'll find your keys no longer work here. I had the locks change. Her eyes widen, and she sets the coffee down, her hands trembling. You can't do that, she stammers. I can, and I did, I reply. You'll also find that our joint accounts have been split. You've lost access. She stares at me, her expression shifting between disbelief and panic. Mark, please. We can fix this. I slam the stack of papers onto the counter, the noise making her jump. Fix this. I growl. You've lied, stolen, and humiliated me. You think this is something we can fix? Her lips tremble, but she doesn't respond. I push the papers toward her. These are divorce papers. You'll sign them, or I'll make this public. Every dirty detail. Your secret account, your affair with Tom, all of it. Her face crumples, but I don't relent. You brought this on yourself, Anna. I'm done playing nice. The silence between us is heavy as she picks up the papers, her hands shaking. You don't have to do this, she whispers. I lean in, my voice low and cold. You had a choice, Anna. You made it when you chose him over me. The sound of her quiet sobs follows me as I leave the room, but I don't let it affect me. She's finally seeing the consequences of her actions, and it's too little, too late. That afternoon, I meet with Susan to finalize the legal proceedings. She's impressed with the evidence I've gathered, and I can see the gears turning in her mind as she crafts a strategy that will leave Anna with nothing. By the time I leave her office, I feel lighter, like a weight has been lifted from my chest. When I return home, Anna's gone. She left a note on the counter, pleading for another chance, but it goes straight into the trash. This isn't a game, and I'm not giving her the opportunity to play me again. As I sit in the now quiet house, I can't help but think about the kids. They'll be back from camp in a few days, and I need to prepare them for what's coming. They deserve better than this mess, and I'll make sure they get it, even if it means shouldering the burden alone. The house is eerily quiet now that Anna is gone. I sit at the kitchen table, staring at the empty space where her note had been just hours earlier. My thoughts drift to Jake and Lily, the kids who've been blissfully unaware of the chaos swirling in their absence. They're my top priority now, and I have to make sure they're shielded from the fallout. The next morning, I drive to their soccer camp. It's a 2-hour journey through winding roads and small towns, but it gives me time to think. The camp director greets me warmly, unaware of the turmoil in my life. I explain the situation briefly, keeping the focus on protecting the kids. They're happy here, the director assures me. We'll keep them distracted and safe until the session ends. I nod, grateful for the reassurance. Before leaving, I write a letter to Jake and Lily. It's light, free of any hint of the storm waiting at home. I don't want them to worry, not yet. The director promises to deliver it during tonight's group activity, and I drive away, feeling a small sense of relief. Back home, I dive into preparations for their return. The locks are changed, the financial accounts are secured, and the legal groundwork is laid. But the emotional aspect is harder to tackle. How do I explain to them that the mother they adore betrayed us all? I sit down with a notepad, jotting down ideas, trying to craft the conversation in my mind. Be honest, but gentle. Don't villainize her, but don't sugarcoat it either. They need to hear the truth, but in a way that preserves their relationship with her. After all, she's still their mother. As I scribble my thoughts, my phone buzzes. It's Susan, my lawyer. We've got everything filed, she says. Custody, assets, the works. Anna's legal team will fight, but with what we've got, they won't get far. Good, I reply, my voice firm. I'm not backing down. She pauses. Mark, have you thought about the kids? How they'll take this? I exhale slowly, glancing at my scattered notes. Every minute, I admit. They'll know the truth, but I won't let this poison them. That's the right approach, she says. Just be ready for the questions. They'll have plenty. That evening, I sit on the couch, staring at the family photo on the mantel. It's from last Christmas, all of us smiling, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. My jaw tightens as I think about Anna's deception, but I force myself to let it go. My anger is justified, but it can't overshadow what matters most, giving Jake and Lily a stable, loving environment. The next day, I spend hours cleaning the house, organizing their rooms, and preparing their favorite meals. It feels therapeutic, a way to channel my energy into something positive. I even set up a small welcome home surprise, a new game for Jake and a set of art supplies for Lily. They've been through enough, and they deserve something to smile about. When the camp director calls to confirm their return schedule, I feel a mix of anticipation and dread. The kids will be home tomorrow afternoon, and with them, the next phase of this battle begins. Before bed, I make one final call to Eddie. Keep an eye on her, I say. I need to know if she tries anything. She's laying low, Eddie replies, but I'll keep you updated. As I hang up, the weight of the day settles over me. Tomorrow, everything changes. I've prepared for this moment, but the thought of seeing Jake and Lily's faces when I tell them about the divorce fills me with a sense of dread. Still, I know it's the right thing to do. They deserve honesty, and I owe it to them to face this head-on. The car pulls into the driveway, its tires crunching softly on the gravel. Jake and Lily tumble out of the back seat, their laughter filling the air as they race toward the house. The camp van driver waves goodbye, oblivious to the storm inside me as I wave back and help carry the kids' bags. Dad, we missed you, Lily says, flinging her arms around me. Jake isn't far behind, offering a more reserved but equally warm hug. I missed you guys too, I say, forcing a smile. Their innocence is a balm to my frayed nerves, but it also sharpens my resolve. They need me to be strong, now more than ever. The kids chatter excitedly as they unpack their things, showing me trinkets and crafts they made at camp. For a brief moment, everything feels normal. I let myself bask in it, savoring their joy. But reality looms, and I know I can't delay the conversation any longer. Hey, guys, I say, my voice steady but serious. Can we sit down and talk for a bit? Their smiles falter, and they exchange a glance before nodding. We gather in the living room, the same place where our family once shared countless moments of laughter and love. Now, it feels heavier, the weight of what I'm about to say pressing down on us. Is something wrong, Dad? Jake asks, his brow furrowing. I take a deep breath, clasping my hands together. There's no easy way to say this, so I'm just going to be honest. Your mom and I, we're getting a divorce. The words hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. Lily's face crumples, and she buries her head in my shoulder, her small frame shaking with silent sobs. Jake's expression hardens, his jaw tightening as he looks away. Why? Jake finally asks, his voice low and shaky. It's complicated, I say carefully, stroking Lily's hair as she cries. But the short answer is that your mom and I don't see eye to eye anymore. It's not your fault, and it never will be. Lily lifts her tear-streaked face. Is it because of us? Did we do something wrong? No, I say firmly, meeting her eyes. This has nothing to do with you. Your mom and I both love you more than anything. That will never change. Jake's gaze shifts back to me, his eyes searching mine for answers. Are you mad at her? I hesitate, choosing my words with care. I'm hurt, Jake, and I'm disappointed. But what's most important is making sure you both are okay. That's all I care about. Lily sniffles, wiping her nose with her sleeve. Where's Mom? She's staying somewhere else for now, I explain. But you'll still see her. We'll figure out a schedule that works for everyone. The room falls silent again, the weight of the moment settling over us. Finally, Jake speaks, his voice barely above a whisper. Are we still a family? I kneel in front of them, taking both their hands in mine. Always, I say. No matter what happens, we'll always be a family. It'll be different, but we'll get through it together. Lily nods, her tears slowing, but Jake's expression remains guarded. I know this is just the beginning of a long road, but I'm determined to guide them through it with as much love and stability as I can offer. That night, after they're both asleep, I sit in the living room, staring at the blank TV screen. The silence is deafening, but I let it wash over me. The first hurdle is behind me, but the fight isn't over. Anna hasn't made her move yet, and I know it's only a matter of time. As I head to bed, my phone buzzes. It's Eddie. She's been in contact with her lawyer, his text reads. Things might escalate soon. I nod to myself, setting the phone down. Let her try. I've already taken the first steps to protect what matters most. The next morning, I wake to the sound of laughter. Jake and Lily are in the kitchen, pouring cereal and arguing over who gets the last of the milk. It's a small moment of normalcy, but it fills me with determination. This is what I'm fighting for. I join them, ruffling Jake's hair as I grab a cup of coffee. What's the plan for today? I ask, keeping my tone light. Lily grins. I want to paint. I have this new idea for a sunset over the ocean. Jake shrugs. Maybe we can shoot hoops later? Sounds good, I say, smiling. But beneath the surface, my mind is elsewhere. Eddie's message from the night before lingers, a warning of the storm to come. After breakfast, I slip into my office and shut the door. My phone buzzes with a message from Susan. Anna's lawyer has filed a response. They're pushing for joint custody and a larger share of the assets. I clench my jaw, the words igniting a fresh wave of anger. She doesn't deserve joint custody, not after what she's done. I grab the file of evidence Eddie compiled and skim through it again. Every damning detail, every time-stamped photo, every financial transaction. It's all here, a testament to her betrayal. I pick up the phone and call Susan. We need to hit back hard, I say. Use everything we have. Understood, she replies. But remember, the court will prioritize the kids' well-being. We need to focus on how her actions jeopardize that. She's been funneling money through a secret account, I point out. That alone shows she can't be trusted. Susan agrees, and we strategize for the next hour, crafting a response that leaves no room for negotiation. By the time I hang up, my resolve is stronger than ever. Anna won't walk away from this unscathed. Later that day, while Jake and Lily are busy with their activities, my phone buzzes again. It's Eddie. She's meeting her lawyer at a cafe downtown. His message reads, "Want me to keep an ear out?" "Yes," I reply. "Let me know if you hear anything useful." The hours drag as I wait for an update. I spend the afternoon shooting hoops with Jake and helping Lily with her painting, but my mind keeps drifting back to Anna. Finally, Eddie texts again. She's planning to contest the financial claims. Claims she didn't know about the account. I shake my head, disbelief mingling with frustration. Of course, she's playing the victim, trying to spin this in her favor. But the evidence is airtight, and I'm ready for her games. That evening, after the kids are asleep, I sit down at the kitchen table and spread out the documents. The divorce papers, the financial records, the photos. It's all here, a roadmap to the truth. I organize everything into a binder, ensuring that every piece of evidence is easy to access. This isn't just a battle for custody or assets, it's a battle for justice. As I work, my phone rings. It's Susan. I've reviewed her response, she says. It's weak, but they're banking on emotional appeals. Be prepared for her to bring up the kids in court. I've already thought about that, I reply. My priority is their well-being, and I'll make that clear. Susan pauses, then says, "Good. Stay focused, Mark. You're in a strong position, but this will get messy." When I hang up, I glance at the clock. It's past midnight, but I can't bring myself to sleep. Instead, I sit in the quiet house, the weight of the coming fight pressing down on me. Anna's moves are predictable, but that doesn't make them any less dangerous. She's desperate, and desperate people are unpredictable. As the night stretches on, I steel myself for what's to come. The fight isn't over, but I'm ready for it. I have the truth on my side, and I won't stop until justice is served. The morning of the court hearing arrives, bringing with it a tense mix of anticipation and determination. I dress in a sharp suit, the weight of the day pressing heavily on my shoulders. Jake and Lily are at school, blissfully unaware of the battle their mother and I are about to fight. I glance at the binder on the kitchen table, double-checking its contents one last time. Everything is in order. By the time I arrive at the courthouse, Anna and her lawyer are already there. She looks nervous, but there's a flicker of defiance in her eyes when she sees me. I meet her gaze, unflinching. This isn't the woman I fell in love with. This is someone who betrayed me and jeopardized our family. Susan greets me in the hallway, her demeanor calm and professional. "We're ready," she says, handing me a copy of the response Anna's team submitted. I skim through it, shaking my head at the weak arguments. They're leaning heavily on emotional appeals, painting Anna as a devoted mother who deserves leniency despite her mistakes. When the hearing begins, the atmosphere in the courtroom is heavy with tension. Anna's lawyer speaks first, delivering a polished argument about preserving the children's relationship with both parents. He emphasizes Anna's remorse and willingness to work toward a cooperative custody arrangement. I watch her as he speaks, noting the carefully crafted look of contrition on her face. When it's Susan's turn, she starts methodically, presenting the facts with precision. "Your Honor," she begins, "while my client has no intention of alienating the children from their mother, the evidence speaks for itself. Mrs. Thompson's actions demonstrate a lack of judgment, financial dishonesty, and a disregard for the stability of her family." She presents the financial records first, outlining the secret account and its transactions. The judge's expression hardens as Susan explains how Anna funneled money into it, hiding it from me and prioritizing her affair over her family's well-being. Anna shifts uncomfortably in her seat, her lawyer whispering something in her ear. But Susan isn't done. She moves on to the surveillance photos, the timestamps aligning perfectly with Anna's supposed work meetings. The photos of Anna and Tom entering a hotel together are particularly damning. I steal a glance at Anna, whose composure is beginning to crack. Her lawyer tries to object, claiming the evidence invades her privacy, but the judge overrules it. The truth is undeniable, and it's hitting her hard. When the judge turns to me, I take a deep breath and stand. Your Honor, I say, my voice steady, my priority has always been my children. They deserve a stable, loving environment, and I've done everything in my power to provide that. But their mother's actions have put that stability at risk. I pause, letting the weight of my words sink in. This isn't just about the affair. It's about trust, accountability, and putting our children first. I'm asking the court to consider the evidence and make a decision that protects them. The judge nods, making notes before calling a brief recess. As I return to my seat, I feel a strange mix of relief and apprehension. The truth is on my side, but the outcome is still uncertain. During the recess, Susan pulls me aside. You handled that perfectly, she says. Now we wait. Anna avoids my gaze as we re-enter the courtroom. When the judge returns, the room falls silent. He addresses both parties, acknowledging the emotional complexity of the case, but emphasizing the importance of the children's well-being. Based on the evidence presented, the judge says, his tone measured, I am awarding primary custody to Mr. Thompson. Mrs. Thompson will have supervised visitation rights until further review. Anna gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. Her lawyer leans in, whispering furiously, but it's clear the decision has been made. I feel a surge of relief, tempered by the weight of what this means for Jake and Lily. As the gavel strikes, signaling the end of the hearing, Anna looks at me, her eyes filled with a mix of anger and despair. But I don't waver. This is the price of betrayal, and I won't let her manipulate me, or the kids, any longer. As the courthouse doors swing shut behind me, the weight of the decision lingers in the air. Susan walks beside me, her expression professional but satisfied. You did well in there, she says. The evidence was overwhelming, and the judge saw that. Thanks, Susan, I reply, my voice steady despite the emotions swirling inside me. Relief, anger, and a touch of sadness all compete for dominance. This is just the beginning, though. She nods. It always is. Be prepared. Anna won't take this lying down. I part ways with Susan and head home, where the silence of the house greets me. It's a hollow victory in some ways. Jake and Lily still don't know the full extent of what's happened, and I'm not sure how they'll take it when Anna tells her version of events. But I promised them stability, and I'll deliver. That evening, I prepare dinner, a simple meal of spaghetti and garlic bread. Jake and Lily chatter at the table, oblivious to the storm I've been weathering. I watch them, their laughter a reminder of what's at stake. This is why I fought so hard, not for revenge, but for them. As we eat, Lily asks, is Mom coming over tonight? The question is innocent, but it sends a pang through me. I take a sip of water to steady myself before answering. Not tonight, I say gently. She'll see you soon, though. We're just figuring out the schedule. Jake studies me, his expression unreadable. He's always been perceptive, and I know he senses there's more to the story. Did something happen, Dad? He asks, his voice careful. I set my fork down, meeting his gaze. Your mom and I are working through some things, I say honestly. But I promise we'll always put you first. That's what matters most. He nods slowly, accepting my answer for now. But I know the questions will come, and when they do, I'll be ready. Later that night, after the kids are asleep, I sit in the living room, the binder of evidence still on the coffee table. My phone buzzes with a message from Eddie. She's furious. Her lawyer called twice after the hearing. Watch your back. I sigh, running a hand through my hair. Eddie's warning isn't lost on me. Anna's desperation will make her unpredictable, and I can't afford to let my guard down. The next morning, the doorbell rings just as I'm pouring coffee. I open it to find Anna standing there, her face pale but defiant. We need to talk, she says, her voice tight. I step aside, letting her in. Make it quick, I reply, keeping my tone firm. She walks into the living room, glancing at the binder on the table. Her eyes narrow. You really had to humiliate me in court, didn't you? You humiliated yourself, I counter. I just presented the facts. Her lips tighten, and she folds her arms. This isn't over, Mark. I'll fight for the kids. They need their mother. They need stability, I say, my voice cold. Something you threw away the moment you prioritized your affair over them. Her face flushes, and for a moment, she looks like she might argue. But then her shoulders sag, and she sinks into the couch. I never meant for this to happen, she whispers. I scoff. You didn't mean for it to happen? Anna, you planned it. You hid money, lied to my face, and jeopardized everything we built. Don't act like this was an accident. Her silence speaks volumes. She knows I'm right, but admitting it would mean facing the full weight of her actions. Finally, she stands, her expression unreadable. I'll see the kids this weekend, she says before walking to the door. I follow her, watching as she steps outside. Anna, I call out, stopping her in her tracks. For their sake, don't make this harder than it has to be. She nods stiffly, then walks to her car without another word. As she drives away, I feel a strange sense of closure. The battle isn't over, but the tide has turned in my favor. Back inside, I glance at the clock. It's almost time to pick up Jake and Lily from school. Life goes on, and for the first time in weeks, I feel like I'm finally regaining control. The school parking lot is bustling with activity as I pull into a space near the entrance. Parents chat in clusters while kids stream out of the building, their laughter and chatter filling the air. I spot Jake and Lily almost immediately. Jake has his backpack slung over one shoulder, and Lily is waving enthusiastically as she skips toward the car. Dad, she calls out, her face lighting up with a smile. It's a sight that never fails to remind me why I'm fighting so hard to hold everything together. Hey, guys, I say as they climb in, their energy instantly filling the car. How was school? Jake shrugs, the typical teenage response, but Lily dives into a detailed account of her day, complete with dramatic reenactments of her classmates' antics. I laugh along with her, glancing at Jake in the rearview mirror. He's quiet, his gaze out the window, but I can tell he's listening. Back at home, I let them settle into their routines, Lily with her painting and Jake with his homework. The house feels alive again, their presence a stark contrast to the heavy silence that's dominated it recently. I sit at the kitchen table, helping Lily mix paints for her latest masterpiece, when Jake suddenly speaks. Is Mom mad at you? He asks, his voice casual but tinged with curiosity. I pause, considering my response. She's upset, I admit. But that's between us. You don't have to worry about it. Jake nods, but I can see the wheels turning in his mind. She called me yesterday, he says after a moment. Said she missed us. I force a smile. I'm sure she does, I reply, keeping my tone neutral. You'll see her soon. She loves you both very much. It's a careful balance, navigating their questions without vilifying Anna. I want them to have a relationship with their mother, even if my feelings toward her are complicated at best. That evening, as I tuck Lily into bed, she looks up at me with wide, trusting eyes. Are you and Mom going to be okay? She asks softly. I stroke her hair, my heart aching at the innocence of her question. We'll be okay, I promise. It's just going to take some time. She nods sleepily, her eyes fluttering closed. I linger for a moment, watching her breathing slow as she drifts off. Jake is already in his room, his door cracked open. I peek in, finding him sprawled on his bed, headphones on. He glances up when he sees me, giving a small wave before returning to whatever he's watching. I close the door quietly, letting him have his space. Downstairs, I collapse onto the couch, exhaustion washing over me. The fight with Anna isn't over, but today felt like a step forward. The kids are adjusting, and for now, that's enough. My phone buzzes on the coffee table. It's Eddie again. She's trying to find a loophole in the custody agreement, his text reads. Her lawyer's digging for anything they can use. I sigh, the brief sense of peace evaporating. I reply with a simple, thanks. Keep me updated, before tossing the phone aside. I expected this, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating. Anna's desperation is a double-edged sword. It makes her reckless, but it also means she won't back down easily. The next day, I meet with Susan to review the custody agreement. She reassures me that the terms are solid, but we tighten a few clauses to ensure there's no room for manipulation. You're in a strong position, she says, but stay vigilant. She's not going to let this go without a fight. That evening, Anna calls. Her voice is strained, her usual confidence replaced with something almost pleading. Mark, we need to talk, she says. We already did, I reply curtly. In court. This isn't about the court, she insists. It's about the kids. Please, can we meet? Just us. I hesitate, suspicion prickling at the edges of my mind. Fine, I say finally. Tomorrow. Neutral ground. She agrees, and we hang up. I don't trust her motives, but I'll hear her out. Whatever she's planning, I'll be ready. The cafe Anna chose is small and tucked away in a quiet part of town. When I arrive, she's already seated at a corner table, her hands wrapped around a steaming mug of coffee. Her face is pale, her eyes puffy, as if she hasn't slept. I approach the table slowly, my guard up. Mark, she says softly as I sit down, her voice almost unrecognizable. Thank you for coming. I nod but say nothing, leaning back in my chair as I wait for her to start. She fidgets with the mug, her fingers trembling slightly. For a moment, I wonder if this is the same woman who confidently dismantled our marriage. I've been thinking a lot, she begins, her eyes downcast. About everything. About what I did. And I know I hurt you. I hurt the kids. I destroyed something I thought would last forever. Her words are unexpected, and for a brief moment, I see a flicker of the woman I once loved. But the damage runs too deep, and I can't let sentimentality cloud my judgment. Is that why you called me here? I ask, my tone steady. To apologize? She looks up, meeting my gaze for the first time. Partly, but also because I can't keep doing this, Mark. Fighting you, dragging this out, it's hurting everyone. I raise an eyebrow, skeptical. You suddenly had a change of heart? Her lips press into a thin line, and she nods. I know you don't trust me, and I don't blame you, but I want to make things right, for the kids at least. They don't deserve this. I lean forward, studying her face. She seems genuine, but I've seen her act before. What's your angle, Anna? She flinches, her composure cracking. I don't have an angle, she says, her voice rising slightly. I'm trying to fix this mess, Mark. I've lost so much already. Her words hang in the air, and I allow a moment of silence before responding. If you're serious, then here's what needs to happen. You stop fighting the custody agreement. You honor the terms we set, without trying to find loopholes or dragging the kids into this. She nods quickly. I'll agree to that. And you cut ties with Tom, I add, my voice hardening. Completely. He's not coming near my kids. Her expression falters, but she nods again. Okay, she whispers. I sit back, folding my arms. If you follow through, we can find a way to move forward. But if you cross me again, Anna, I won't hold back. Do you understand? Tears well up in her eyes, and she wipes them away hastily. I understand, she says, her voice barely audible. For the first time, I feel a sliver of relief. If she's being honest, and only time will tell, this could be the turning point. But I'm not naive enough to believe her completely. Trust takes time, and Anna has a long way to go before she earns even an ounce of it. I'll hold you to it, I say, standing. For their sake, Anna. She nods, her gaze fixed on the table as I leave. Outside, the cool air bites at my skin, but I feel a strange sense of calm. The confrontation didn't bring closure, but it brought clarity. Anna's remorse, whether genuine or calculated, doesn't change what she's done. The focus now is on the kids and ensuring they have the stability they need. When I get home, Jake and Lily are waiting for me. Lily runs up to hug me, her energy infectious. Jake lingers behind, his hands in his pockets, but his smile is genuine. For the first time in weeks, I feel like I'm standing on solid ground. As I tuck them into bed later, I think about Anna's words. Maybe this is the beginning of a resolution. Or maybe it's another game. Either way, I'll be ready. The days following my meeting with Anna are tense but quieter. There are no sudden calls from her lawyer, no desperate messages pleading her case. Eddie keeps an eye on her movements and confirms she hasn't met with Tom since our conversation. It's a small victory, but I don't let my guard down. Trusting her isn't an option. Not yet. The kids have adjusted better than I expected. Jake still has moments of quiet introspection, where I catch him staring off into space, but he seems to be processing everything in his own way. Lily, ever the optimist, fills the house with her energy, her laughter a constant reminder of why this fight was worth it. One evening, as I'm helping Lily mix colors for her latest painting, Jake approaches me hesitantly. "Dad," he says, his voice serious. "Are you happy?" The question catches me off guard, but I nod slowly. "I'm getting there," I reply. "Why do you ask?" He shrugs, but there's a vulnerability in his eyes. I want you to be okay. You've been through a lot." I put a hand on his shoulder, squeezing gently. "We've all been through a lot," I say, "but we're going to be okay. I promise." He nods, the hint of a smile tugging at his lips. It's a small moment, but it feels monumental, a bridge between us that I hadn't realized was missing. The next weekend, Anna arrives for her supervised visit with the kids. It's awkward at first, her interactions with them tentative and careful. But as the hours pass, the tension eases. By the time she leaves, Jake and Lily seem content, and Anna looks almost relieved. As she stands by her car, she hesitates before speaking. "Thank you," she says quietly, "for letting me see them. I'm doing this for them," I reply, my tone even. "Don't mistake this for anything else." She nods, her expression solemn, and drives away. I watch until her car disappears down the street, then head back inside. Jake and Lily are on the couch, engrossed in a game. I sit beside them, their laughter filling the room as they explain the rules to me. Weeks turn into months, and slowly, life begins to find a new rhythm. The custody arrangement holds, and Anna sticks to her promises, at least for now. Eddie's updates become less frequent, and Susan assures me that our legal position is secure. The sense of stability, though fragile, starts to feel real. One evening, as I sit on the back porch watching the sunset, Lily joins me, her sketchpad in hand. She curls up beside me, her pencil scratching against the paper as she works. Jake steps outside a few minutes later, a basketball tucked under his arm. "Come on, Dad," he says with a grin. "One-on-one." I chuckle, setting my drink down. "You're on." As I follow him to the driveway, Lily calls after us. "Don't let him win, Dad." "I never do." I call back, laughing as Jake groans in protest. In that moment, the weight of the past months feels lighter. The scars are still there, etched into my memory, but they no longer define me. This is what matters: my kids, their happiness, and the life we're building together. As the sun dips below the horizon, I realize something. The fight isn't over. It may never truly be, but I'm stronger now. And no matter what comes next, I know I can face it. Thank you for sticking through this journey. If you've ever faced a similar challenge or have thoughts to share, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of resilience, redemption, and moving forward.